Blessed be. Welcome to astropsych. Today is 8:49 a.m. and it is May 6, 2026. I'm going to be discussing the Pluto Retrograde and some of the highlights that will be main themes that we're going to be asked to look at as Pluto begins to station retro. Beginning on May 6th and lasting until October 5th, 2026, Pluto's retrograde will give us a chance to look at old psychological patterns under the microscope and deal with personal power dynamics. Pluto in retrograde asks us to dig deep, to sit in the cave, to simmer in the cauldron, and examine our psychological power dynamics by feeling, sensing without seeing, and not doing. This is an internal, not public review, and it asks for us not to move but to be fixed and still, much like a pond. Pluto asks us to examine and question what, where, and with whom do we find our value, our exchange between the other in values, money, earthly things, deeply feeling interactions, and our sense of worth. Where is our personal, highly unique exchange appreciated by the others within the greater collective? And how does this tie me publicly and going forward with the ever advancing AI and technology? With Pluto in Aquarius, these are the questions. And when Pluto in Aquarius goes retrograde, this outward revolution that we have been seeing, all of us experiencing, trying to work through, whether you're a mother, a father, single, an older person, a younger person, even children, newborns, all of us are being affected by the energetic signatures that are going on around us in these very revolutionary times. The retrograde in Pluto transition is going to signal a period of intense re-evaluation regarding our personal relationship with technology and society and how we are going to show up in the greater collective. AI is not slowing down, and soon it will become obvious to us that though we desperately need and want to, we cannot put AI back in the box. This will bring about much revolution in the areas of communication. Aquarius is fixed air. This is intelligent energy, the last of the air signs that has something to say for we the people and to we the people. This will bring about much revolution in the areas of our cultural, psychological frameworks and how perhaps what we've known and understood about those psychological framework power dynamics will be rewritten. Alpha gens are on deck here to inherit what we choose to do now at this time in history. If we do not honor our energetic codes and signatures in our personal astrological evolutionary transits and growth cycles, we will not fare well in the new world that is coming. Will Gen Alpha, like Gen Z, be handed over to the machines to meet their personal and social interaction needs? Main theme here is internalization in a reflective manner when we see retrograde planets. Pluto is known as the planet of transformation, personal and collective power dynamics, and evolutionary change. As it transits through a house in our charts, it brings with it deep-seated psychological memory. Pluto rules Scorpio. Scorpio is the second water sign that holds water memory deeply. All the water signs hold ancient memories in the areas connected in our lives with power struggles related to our emotions, our feelings, and our sensing. This is an utter and total deconstruction of the signs' themes in order to reconstruct and then introduce new ones. By the time Pluto works its way through a sign, we see total transformation. We see power dynamics impacted greatly, publicly and personally. His storyline is significant in your birth chart, along with the current transits, other charts that you can use with progressions, the annual solar return chart, other types of charts, relocation. All of it matters here because Pluto has to do with your power in the way that you exchange your personal power in the collective with others that then ties directly to value. Your sense of who you are, your sense of values, and your psychological understanding of who you are when you show up in the collective with others. With it being an Aquarius, Aquarius is we know, and the friendly, humanitarian, inventive, individualist, intellectual, logical, perceptive, rebellious, stubborn. Yes, thick signs are all stubborn. Unique, unpredictable, the visionary, eccentric, erratic, impersonal, the rebel. We see this because Aquarius has the Lord's Saturn and the Lord's Uranus also in the mix here when we speak of Pluto. Saturn is interested in common sense, boundaries, moral duty, obligation, where we have a duty and where we need to work very hard to bring out that which we wish to place on the earth. Uranus takes the unconventional path, highly eccentric, the great awakener, stands apart from the rest, very different planet, is on its side as it navigates the solar system. And Uranus will bring shock, will bring awe, will bring sudden movements, sudden impacts, sudden shifts that you cannot stop nor control. This is electricity here. This is the sky god. This is the information coming from above and coming to below. So wherever these two power lords are going to be important for you to understand, because Aquarius is in the mix. The 11th house is in the mix of friends, networking, larger communities, your people, your legacies, the house of good spirit, what you will be remembered by. The retrograde period is a time to pause, review our progress. It's a check and balance of what we've already done since Pluto ingressed into the house. Houses, could be several houses for you, could have moved over to another house. But where it's gone from 0 to where it sits today at 5 degrees. Those last movements, these last, especially last months, I would say the last 6 months especially, because there was a movement in and there was adjustment and there was a lot of change, and it finally got some rhythm here. So go back, specifically the past 6 months, the past year, and really look at what has been speaking to you in the house that it sits and is transiting, and the aspects it is making. This is not pointing outward anymore when Pluto goes retrograde. Understand this. We want to do this. When things get bad, when things get hard, our mind wants to find solutions, and it finds a way by pointing out all of the faults so we can fix them. And we see this. We have seen a massive deluge of information dumped on us on the internet, from every conspiracy theory known to man, to what our government is up to what Erica Kirk is doing, and the whole Charlie Kirk situation, and all of the information on Israel that's been coming out in the United States, and all of the information that's been coming out about the things that I can't say, or they'll shadow ban or cancel this video. But we know the darker themes of what things are happening that we see now coming to the light that were once hidden. All of that has caused this massive exposure that Pluto's been up to. Public power dynamics has been very challenging. I know I am right there with you in my consults and people that I'm speaking with and sharing with, and are sharing their stories with me. I got to tell you, the themes are common. You are not alone. Please hear this. Please hear this, because I think some of you out there feel like I can't, I'm going crazy. The energy is insane. There's so much activity. There's so many things going on. And to all of that, I say that our nervous systems, they were not designed to operate like this. They were not designed to be bombarded with an hour of 10 to 15 second reels, one after another. We've just gotten to this place where we've got too much information coming at once. And when there's too many trees, you miss the forest. You tend to focus on each tree. You go in and all you see is each tree, each tree, each tree. And we have to back up. We have to move away. We have to see things from a different perspective. And the only way to do that is to go into alchemy, is to go into knowing thyself, is to go into spaces where we can hear our own heartbeats, in our own rhythms, and we can hear the small voice inside of us directing us. That intuitive voice that each of us has becomes more clearer when we go into the caves, when we go into the deep, when we go into meditation. When I was a child, I swam all the time. I still love swimming. But I can remember swimming for hours in the water. And I can remember that I would love to dive straight down as deep as I could go, like deep, 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 deep. Because when I got way down there, like Sedna is in the chart for Pluto there, showing us the way, coming through very clearly, sitting next to Uranus. Her clear perception is known and seen because she is seated at the bottom of the ocean, and she is still, and she is recovering from all of her fingers being chopped off and that whole story. Not going to go into that, but she is the water goddess that is able to sit deeply in the waters with all of the erratic energy going on above, with all of the crazy town. And I know it is crazy town, okay? I am right there with you. With all of this going on, she just sits because she's in the depths. She's in the bottom, the cave, the stillness, where all can be silent, and the noise and the rush of the outer world has been quieted. This is where Pluto is asking us to go in a very specific way with some very clear messages. So retrograde periods, time to pause, review our progress, checks and balances. Instead of looking at how society is changing here, we're forced here to look at how we have changed within it. It's time to process our psychological impact of new technologies or shifting social circles, perhaps that are more open, more innovative, and desire to work with the change instead of fight it. Aquarius is very forward thinking. And we had Uranus, the ruler of Aquarius, recently in Taurus, where it sat for 7 long years in fixed, heavy earth that holds and sits and creates and looks and molds and shapes and then sends it out to the mutable signs. Taurus is fixed. Once the old ways can tend to stay in these ways of stubbornness and no, this is the way that works. I'm not going to the new ways. I'm not embracing the newness. It's not going to happen. I'm going to stay. Well, Aquarius doesn't want this. Aquarius doesn't want us to mold with the machines, certainly. But make no mistake about it, Aquarius is asking us to look closer at the machines, at the technology. In the early stages here of Uranus and Gemini, we will see and ask here to shed the stubbornness, to be more open and dual like Gemini. Air that moves. Air that expresses, not so fixed on always having my way or the highway, and this is the way it's done, and this is the way we will do it, and this is what I want type of leadership. That's not going to work. That energy will not mold, meld, and transmute into the future that we're preparing for. Aquarius is collective energy, not the self. So we're in an editing phase here as of the retrograde this morning in several hours. We're going to look back at innovations. We're going to look back at how they've impacted our personal lives. We're going to look back at our community changes and where we show up in groups, and if we're in the right space, and if it's moving forward with the changes. Pluto's direct motion transiting our natal chart has been busy, breaking down, deconstructing, and facilitating the destruction to the construction of the future. But we have a long, long way to go. I wanted to share this so clearly with you if I can. Listen, I want to share that this is a marathon, okay? This isn't Mercury that zips around the zodiac, changing, every 88 days it goes through 12 signs. No, this is Pluto. This is 238 years to go around the chart. This is Pluto crawling backwards and crawling forward. This is a long haul. This movement right now is setting the future. You must see this. This is crucial to understand at this time. Use the retrograde of Pluto that is occurring this year to take a deep review at where you're at with all of these themes I'm about to get into. In Cosmos and Psyche by Richard Tarnas, an astrologer, he uses a specific set of potent adjectives to describe the Pluto archetype. He characterizes Pluto as the principle of elemental power and the irresistible force of nature. According to Tarnas, Pluto is described by these qualities. Titanic, which represents forces that are massive, overwhelming, and larger than the individual human scale. This is where we see Pluto, we see our evolutionary journey. This Pluto in your chart, where he sits, how he's speaking, who he's with, the actors that are with him, the angles that he's making, all of this is your evolutionary journey storyline. And it's asking you to grow. It's asking you to shed. It's asking you to know what to shed by going into the shadows and embracing them instead of rejecting them, and looking at the things that you do that are of a darker nature and alchemizing them for such a time as this. They are volcanic, referring to the buildup of intense pressure beneath the surface that eventually results in an explosive, transformative release. As we have Pluto sextiling Uranus, trining Uranus, Pluto sextiling Neptune, all of these, air and fire, we are now in full forward movement once Pluto goes forward again, right? Now we're in retrograde. So we're going back while this energy of Uranus is going forward and Neptune is going forward. But we're being asked to pull back. So I want you to imagine all this great energy going out, right? In the shock and awe, fast-paced way of the Great Awakener, Neptune trying to bring some spiritual sense to all of this, the above to the below, and bringing us into the deep waters with Sedna to then meditate, go into sensing mode, go into feeling mode, the highest water mode, right? Neptune, and make sense of all this. While Pluto's sucking us backwards, saying, not so fast. This is very volatile. Please understand this. I want you to get a visual for it. It is not easy energy, especially until Pluto begins to move forward. We have a tough 6 months ahead of us. I'm not going to sugarcoat this. It's just the way that I see it. And you are really being asked, I am really being asked to do that hard work, because where we're going is coming very fast and very quickly. And I believe that if you have not prepared yourself psychologically for it, I think you're going to have some really challenging times. It is evolutionary. in that it's describing a power that compels growth and metamorphosis through the necessity of death and rebirth. What do you need to die to here? What do you need to shed? And in order to do that, you got to see it. You got to know. You have to have truth coming into you, into your psyche, hard and fast. And these hits are going to come, okay? And I just want you to be prepared for them. It is primordial, touching on the most ancient, deep-seated, and instinctive layers of the psyche and the biological life. It is chthonic, a scholarly term that he uses referring to underworld dwelling, used to describe the dark, hidden, and subterranean aspects of reality. Pluto is compulsive, yes, highlighting a driven, obsessive, unavoidable nature of great plutonic Plutonian shifts. I want you to think of Hades and how he just went after what he wanted. He was compulsive, went after Persephone, took her, and dragged her down into the underworld. Dionysian, lastly, representing the raw, instinctual, and sometimes terrifying pulse of life force and biological cycle. It is emanational, denoting a power that radiates from a central deep source, transforming everything in its path. Tarnas summarizes Pluto as the great leveler, an archetype that is annihilating yet regenerative, functioning as the biological and historical process of transformation. Pluto represents the principle of power itself, the elemental force of nature that is both the source of life and the cause of its destruction. That was Richard Tarnas reviewing that information from his book, Cosmos and Psyche. All right, what I'm going to do quickly here before I get into the 12 zodiac signs and where these are showing up for you is I just want to do a review of where Pluto's been and what he's been up to, and understanding what Pluto has done evolutionary, specifically through the United States of America, where I live, and what I have studied and seen that has transpired. Now, this is not a deep dive. There are others out there who have done that, but just for a background kind of construct, I wanted you to see where Pluto has taken us. Now, keep in mind here as I'm going through these ages and cycles, keep in mind when you were born, okay? Because I can share with you something that I'm discovering. Now, I've not read this anywhere else. This is me. This is unique to me. If it's out there, great. Hook me up with it. But what I believe I have come to understand as a Plutonian and a Scorpio ascendant, I'm ruled by Scorpio in my body. It's my chart ruler with Mars. And so I have a very close tie with Pluto just being a Scorpio ascendant. I was born in 1963 when Uranus and Pluto were in Virgo, and they came together and then they separated. So I was born when they were coming together. They were 7 degrees apart, which thank the gods on high. They're not touching one another. I really appreciate that because it was already hard. I can't imagine what that would have been like. But I have some, even though with orbs, the orbs are wide in the outer transits because they're so slow moving. 7 degrees still gives you a little bit more comfort than 0, 1, or 2 degrees where they're exactly conjunct like that. So I chose that I would be able to manage it the way that I have and that I would do what I'm doing, although I would not know that, of course, at that time. But Pluto has transited through 6 zodiac signs, typically spending 12 and 30 years in each since 1900. So due to its slow movement and frequent retrograde periods, Pluto goes retrograde 5 to 6 months every year. So he really spends a great amount of time retrograde, not even moving forward each year. And you have to wonder why that is. And I think it's because we need to really understand that it's an evolutionary journey that is so transforming by the time we get through it that we need this time to go back, and digress and review and make sure that we've really worked through the psychological patterns and the issues before moving forward. So it makes perfect sense to me. But what I see here is those that where Pluto was where you were born, right? You're going to see when you become an adult a real drive and a real desire to clean up wherever Pluto was and where he was speaking. So I have it in Virgo, right? Virgo's the 6th house, mutable house, ruled by Lord Mercury, logical, rational reasoning. This is our workplace. This is what we do every day in service to others. This is our health, so we can have it be the house of a bad fortune here. That's why it's called that, because we can get sick and we have enemies show up here. And so it is a house very much has to do with wanting to make things clean, whole, structured, organized, in a place of use, in a place where they can, be digested in the public. It rules digestion. So food again, but healthy food. How do we eat? When do we eat? What's important about the way we eat? All this is Virgo material. In 63, right, the world was a different place. Consequently, as I matured, the world changed, of course, and it brought in all of this artificial food, did away with all herbology, did away with all the things that were still surrounding me a little bit when I was a child, and all of the arts and the sciences of astrology and the Kabbalah and tarot and all these things were like suddenly demonized and no longer fit for public consumption, as our medical system was taken over by tyrants for profit. That is a whole nother video. But I have come through all of that and seen it, and it's very much now, as I'm awakened into my Pluto and healed and done my shadow work and worked through my own shadows, right? I now see how I am called for such a time as this. If you look at the rest of my chart, it's very obvious to talk about such things and to bring naturopathic healing back to the forefront, and to let you know that you are your own healer, and to let you know that food is your medicine, and to let you know to do things in moderation, and to let you know that when we get out of balance in our relationships and in our food and what we do in our daily life, that things get out of place. So yeah, I'm very much all up in that. So I say that to say this. Look at where Pluto was when you were born. And wherever Pluto is, there is a message in that costume, which would be the sign, and all of the other actors around it, which are the planets, and the angles, which is your storyline, and read your storyline. And you will see your purpose. I believe Pluto gives us our biggest, our deepest purpose, because when we heal the psychological traumas or any psychological challenging ways of thinking or doing or expressing ourselves, we become our own healers. We know ourselves when we get healed, and we can then act in a way that brings profit. Pluto is also profit and money, as it rules Scorpio, and other people's money in the 8th house. So you can see how we can begin to make a very productive life when Pluto is integrated. Pluto is seen and known for its lessons and what it's trying to do to purify you. Yes, Pluto is the great purifier. It is the gold rising to the top as you have forced yourself to sit in the fire. You then reduce to ashes, which you then rise and become the highest form of Pluto, Phoenix rising from the ashes. So I think there's something to all that. I'll let you decide. I'd love to hear your comments below and how your journey has been with Pluto. And if you are looking for some assistance, I'm taking consultations and helping people with their Pluto, specifically during this retrograde. You can go on my Facebook page, and I'm going to be uploading a reading that I'm offering at a special price during this time while Pluto's in retrograde until October 15th. So just check that out, and you can see it there. All right, Pluto was in Gemini from 1884 to 1914. This would be Mercury ruled, logic, reasoning, communication, transportation, intellectual expansion of mutable air intelligence. So this was inventive, restless, communicative type of time in America. This era saw the invention and witnessed the advent of the birth of the automobile, the airplane, and the radio. Information started moving much faster than ever, and it changed how people connected with each other. Okay, so Uranus is in Gemini. Think about this, people. Pull in Uranian themes. Pluto's ruled by Uranus because it's in Aquarius. It's Lord's matter. So yeah, woo, this is trining Pluto. Pluto, Uranus, and Gemini. And this is intense. This is why you're feeling the energies that you're feeling out there. You're not making it up. The acceleration of information exchange fundamentally altered human connectivity and information sharing, and the new inventions began to move faster than ever before, and this fundamentally changed how humans interacted with life. Pluto in Cancer, 1914 to 1938, ruled by the moon, waxing, waning, trying to find its space in this new world. We had, of course, intelligence waxing and waning in the depths. This is deeply feeling, sensing sign, home, family, nationalism, emotional security, very defensive time, patriotic, a time where nurturing was brought to the forefront for the United States. And, you know, it shaped World War I and the Great Depression. People focused on protecting their homes, their assets. Nationalism grew stronger, and the New Deal changed how Americans thought about America. Emphasis was placed on protecting the home in the emergency situations. Defined by World War I, Great Depression, focus was on protecting the nest. And the rise of intense nationalism, really, go back and study that. It was quite interesting. The American approach to the concept of social safety nets with that New Deal really changed the way that we interacted with other countries. Pluto and Leo, 1938 to 57, ruled by the sun, a yang, male, masculine approach, very outward expression. Main themes, self-expression, authority, and the hero archetype. Very powerful, dramatic, creative time where the baby boomer generation was born and saw a time when the United States became a superpower. World War II took place and all the boys came home. America entered a robust period of growth, thus booming. Celebrity culture grew. We saw this with the pinups, Marilyn Monroe, all the beauties on the screen. And the development and creation of the atomic bomb demonstrated both individual and national power. The era was marked by representing a significant display of both individual and national power. Pluto and Virgo, 57 to 71, ruled by Lord Mercury and mutable Earth. Also the period where Uranus and Pluto came together in conjunction, then separated, like I said. This is speaking to future upheaval and growth when the children mature. And here we are. Those of us born at that time are now sitting in our 60s. And we've gone through 2 Saturn returns, okay? We've gone through a lot of major transits within the personal planets. We are not who we were. We have matured and we are here for it. And I'm speaking, and I know a lot of other healers out there are speaking, and I just want to give a huge shout out. You know who you are, my friends. Those that I've had the privilege of knowing just in the Lynchburg, Virginia area. Can we just give a shout out to all of you healers working out there in the collective, in the areas of Lynchburg and surrounding, and all of the, metaphysical shops and the people out there just really trying to get the word out on healing. I just applaud you. I stand with you. And I want to say that I do offer, if you work in the healing field, please let me know if you order anything from me, because I offer you a discount every single time. Blessed be to you. I thank you, Virgos, that are rising up at this time. You are of my tribe, and I just can't even tell you how amazing it is to really just be sitting here in the privilege with the understanding of being awakened. I am so grateful for that. I was not born awakened. I was not born in a house awakened. It took me a very long time when Pluto ingressed into Neptune. Pardon me, when Neptune ingressed into Pluto, this last 14-year ingress that we experienced, it's now in Aries, but that is when I awoke, and those 14 years were my beginning, my middle, and my end of the incredible transformative work. You can't make this stuff up, guys. There's a reason the planets are where they are and things are structured the way they are to mature and come due at certain times, because the all-knowing, the all-seeing universe, that which is above, that which sees ahead, that which sees backward, and that which sees now, is able to work with your soul evolutionary journey. All right, we had work, health, service, and systems when Pluto was in Virgo. The era saw a very new approach that was analytical, critical, efficient, and that's where we saw the rise of automation and the civil rights movement, both of which contributed to societal refinement. It also encompassed the sexual revolution and a transformation in perspectives on and in the work of refining society. It brought about the revolution in a new way of thinking about how we view health, healing, medicine, daily routines, habits, and exchange with others through works of service. Pluto in Libra, 71 to 84. Lord Venus, the great attractor and negotiator, brings harmony, love, and beauty, winning good dignity. This was about relationships, justice, and social balance. This is a diplomatic, indecisive at times, relational type of energy. The period here, 71 to 84, brought a massive shift and major changes in marriage and divorce laws. There's a focus more on couples and partnerships, and the emphasis shifted to equality. Politically increased attention to partnership and equality. We saw the Cold War was entered in what could be called a French phrase of détente, I think I'm saying that right, which is relaxation, and it describes an easing of strained relations. And that is what we saw as an effort to achieve literal balance, like the Libra scale. Also, the scale is the only inanimate object in the zodiac wheel. Hugely important to understand this and look at its ability to be very indiscriminative. It can stand in the middle. It doesn't. It doesn't have the type of sensing and feeling like the other signs. It's really a unique sign. Pluto and Scorpio, 84 to 95. These were when my babies were born. Lord Mars and Pluto. Wouldn't you know, as a Scorpio ascendant, I had Scorpio babies when Pluto was in Scorpio. So, yeah, that's been interesting. Willful, warrior, transforming archetypes. And the main themes here were taboos and sexuality. A lot of nasty things that were kept down under, things that were hidden, things that really we weren't seeing started to come out of the woodwork as the internet began to take shape. Not really where it would be once we get it in the Sagittarian realm, but it's getting there. We saw shared resources, changes well between individuals, the way we do money. The AIDS crisis changed how society viewed sex and death. Death began to come into the picture on a more prominent basis as Pluto is death and sex. This was an intense, investigative, and transformative time in society. And that AIDS crisis, it prompted a transformation in societal attitudes toward the way we did sex and towards the way we saw mortality. And the grunge movement began to rise at this time, and a fascination with the dark side of the human psyche, evidenced by the popularity of the true crime and psychological thrillers that came onto the forefront. Pluto in Sagittarius, 95 to 08, ruled by Lord Jupiter, in mutable fire. This is action, passion, and in a deep intuitive knowing. House of God, Sagittarius rules, where we have divination, spirituality, higher education, the world view, the place of God, higher broadcasting and long distance travels. So belief systems, globalization and higher education. From 95 to 08, the internet absolutely exploded. We started to see all kinds of connections and globalization that we never had before, which brought about a lot of optimism, a lot of expansive energy, and also dogmatism. People began to find their niches and their places and began to pump their information out. And the explosion of the internet created an unprecedented global interconnectedness. At the same time, 9/11 and the War on Terror brought deep religious and philosophical conflicts to the forefront and surface. And rapid expansion and explosion on the internet fostered global understanding for the first time, where it used to be in books, it used to be coming in the form of newspapers, radio, what other people did, what other people said, and now we were seeing it for the very first time. This radically changed the way that we viewed the world. Pluto and Capricorn. 08 to 24, ruled by Lord Saturn and Cardinal Earth. 10th house themes of government, corporations, power dynamics, up and down control, and the hierarchy. The 2008 financial crisis exposed deep flaws in major institutions and banks, and as a result, the traditional power structures and established career trajectories broke down, leading to a profound exposure of the underbelly of establishments, and began the process of dismantling restrictive structural standards and ways of doing government, business, and how we do work. Hey, I awakened at this time, and I was a financial advisor sitting in the seat, and I had been in the financial career for many, 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 many years. Pluto completely dismantled my 10th house of career. And I, as Neptune began to ingress into Pisces, right? That slow transit for 14 years, I began to change. And it exposed the rot in big institutions and banks. That is why I left, because I saw what was happening. It wasn't that the people were bad. It wasn't that, exchanging of money is bad. It was just a lot of corruption in hidden places within the financial sectors, within our government. Conspiracy theories completely took off at this time, and people now understand that those were true. We wouldn't see that until much later, but we're now understanding that a lot of the things that were spoken about during that time, especially 2016 to 20, all of those are coming to pass, and we have receipts, and we're seeing this. So the tearing down of old social norms, power structures, and traditional career paths. So listen, a word to my beautiful Gen Zs. My beautiful Gen Zs, I am holding a power of circle for you, and wanting you to know that I speak over you, and wanting you to know that when you come to my mind, and you do, I hang my hands high for you. I hold them up and I speak over you. You came in for such a time as this, where all of the way that we do business is changing, and you are really being asked with Pluto. You were born with Pluto and Sag, so now you've experienced Pluto and Capricorn, and here you are, young adults, Pluto and Aquarius, going, what the ever loving you know what. I won't say the words, but you know what I mean. And you are like, Jesus, what am I supposed to do with this? I understand. I want you to know somebody out here understands. There are many of us out here talking about it, actually, that understand. And I hope that you find the support you're needing. I just want to say you can do this. I want to tell you you can do hard things. I want to tell you that the times that it's really difficult to dig so deep, I know that feeling. I want to tell you that perhaps it's signaling you to find a way that makes more sense to you. Perhaps it's signaling to you to find a way that makes your heart come alive. Find a way to make money that makes your heart come alive. Don't let the plutocrats of the world tell you how it needs to be done. You are here to change technology, community, and to radically innovate it, okay? To show us the way, to show us how to be that revolutionary, to show us how to be detached. Yes, to show us how to be detached in your autism, in your ADHD, in your bipolarness, in your neurodivergency. You all came through with these. Okay, you are showing us how to be the humanitarian. I want to tell you, look at Down syndrome's babies. They're absolutely humanitarians. They are the most beautiful babies. All they want to do is smile and help. They are showing the way. You are showing the way. Rise up. Don't rise up hard. Don't rise up harsh. Don't rise up to tie those bootstraps. That's old language. It's gone. Don't let it come back up. Those are the old ways. A lot of you Zs are yelling at boomers, okay? That's why you're doing it. You're like, that doesn't work. That fucking doesn't work. Sorry about the language. That had to come out. But that is the way that it is, right? I want to share with you. You are here to use artificial intelligence, because it's not going away, in a way that will bring decentralized power, right? The way that will make it fair to all, because you are done. You were born with Pluto and Sag, Gen Z, and you will not have it. You will not have it. You want things to be revolutionized. The 9th sextiles the 11th, Sag is in the 9th, the house of how we do higher things, and you want a revolution. You want it to be more fair. You want it to be humanitarian. And there's going to be a lot of change with money, and a lot of grassroots movements rising up regarding money and how we do money. Pluto is money. Pluto is power. Pluto is power dynamics. Pluto is opposite Taurus, the house of wealth. how you are exchanging money with other people. So the focus is moving from this hierarchical, top-down authority to collective empowerment, in challenging collective empowerment in the way that you see it. And this rise of artificial intelligence from the boss Capricorn needs to come to we, the people, Aquarius and Pluto. So we're at a very crucial time that if we don't take this back and somehow figure this out, the machines may take over. You know, it could happen. It could happen. I am not one that goes too forward in astrology. A lot of people spend a lot of time there, and I understand that. I do see what's coming. I do look at transits. I do look 5 years out. That I do. But I don't go too much farther than 5 years unless I want to see how will this look 20 years from now, right? Things like that. But I try to stay where I'm at, where I can make change. I'm not in the future. I am here right now. And this is what's so difficult, is it hurts right now, and it's difficult, and it's challenging, and you don't maybe even want to feel any of this, and you want to maybe go to addictions. You want to just grab that phone and scroll because you can take your mind off stuff. But I want to tell you, it has an impact, okay? It has an impact on you. And because of Pluto's massive orbit, right? It's big, slow speed. This orbit, retrograde, lasts 5 to 6 months. And it means, again, that Pluto's in retrograde for half the year. So this is really, really a time for us to understand at deep psychological levels, both personal and in public, how we relate to other people at this time, what we're going to be known for, what we're going to share to others humanitarily, what we're going to leave behind, what we're going to do in our groups, how we're going to show up in the culture. This retrograde will poke, it will prod, and it will identify and ask us to alchemically transmute our core values and how we show up publicly with that personal psychology, which is where we get our core values. We can expect themes under examination and in need of transformation, therefore, in how we value others. How are you treating others? What are you saying to others, and what are you not saying? What has been said that shouldn't have been said, and what has not been shared to clear up the storyline that should be said? Pluto is secret. Pluto is private. Pluto can be a son of a bitch in dark shadow and vicious. Very, very vicious. Do not underestimate Pluto's power when not managed. This is our money, folks. Money is on the table. That comes from others, in our relationships, taxes, insurance, wills, inheritances, monies from financial industries, investing. This is precious metals. This is silver. This is gold. This is the occult. This is mysticism. This is astrology. This is the esoteric arts. This is the taboo topics in need of alchemical transmutation and healing related to how we do sex, drugs, porn, the smutty, the dirty, the scandalous, the salacious, the hidden darker sides of our collective and legacy-making personas. With Uranus in Gemini, Lord of Pluto and Aquarius, in a trine to Pluto and Aquarius, this is fast-moving, harmonious energy. A lot of information that has been hidden, specifically with where it's showing up in your chart, is going to come to the light in order for us to move to a higher frequency that is more in consideration of the other and not just the self. Uranus and Pluto are both sextiling Neptune and Aries as well. Now, they're separating when in forward movement, okay? But Neptune's moving back. So Neptune is moving back. They're moving, that is moving away. And Neptune and Gemini are moving forward. All right, so here we go. Aries, first in the zodiac. This is moving through your 11th house of social circles, the house that Aquarius is in. So Aries, you've been doing some work here for a while. How you present yourself in relationships, friends, and the collective. So check your Aries energy. Check your Lord Mars right now to that Aries energy. And see what Mars is going to be doing for you. This is not a deep dive. This is a general reading. If you're interested in looking at that theme, hit me up. I am here for you. But the themes for you are social audit. Check yourself, Aries, before you wreck yourself. Check your Aries wherever that degree is. You are discerning, detached, and observant. This is your ask here. Reevaluating your alliances. Time to seek and see your friendships or tribes empower you and which ones are draining you, and not allowing your individual spark to come forth. Taurus, 10th house. You are ruled by Lord Venus. A pull to importance here. Highly visible presentation projects. Deep-seated ambitions with professional relationships. This is an ambition reset for you, asking you to be strategic, asking you to be patient, and asking you to reassess your public role in your career path. They're under the microscope of Pluto right now, wanting to alchemize you, questioning if your professional legacy really matches your soul's true purpose. When we have the first angle sign here, the 10th house, not easy. This is active energy. This is not quiet, Taurus. This is going to be loud. Gemini in the 9th house. This is Lord Mercury in the sign of the twins, immutability. Examining your belief systems and how your worldview impacts the world around you. This is your belief deconstruction. You're being asked to look at some of your belief systems, some of the ways that you have exchanged yourself with your philosophical, inquisitive mind. What your belief systems are and where old dogmas and old worldviews are crumbling for you. And you might just have this great awakening, going, oh my God, I'm looking for truth that goes beyond just logical facts. I need to touch a higher realm, a higher dimension. I need to connect with spirit and all that is. This is the 9th house. Cancer, ruled by the moon, you waxing and waning beautiful suns, you. The 8th house, this is shared resources. Pluto lives here, so Pluto here feels quite home. Fears of death, fear of mortality, the mortality of self, mortality of others. You could see some things pass away in your life at this time when Pluto transits the 8th. You could have some inheritances. You could have money come in, money go out. There could be issues with taxes. There could be issues with debts. Partners' money could change for the good or the bad. You see, you have to look at your whole chart and what it's speaking. But this is a place of therapy as well. So Cancer Suns, if you've been doing your work, you may be called to help others in therapy. And Pluto going through is going to empower you. And I'm excited about this as a Cancer Sun. I've done a lot of work in that house through the years. So this is shadow work, helping others, intimacy with others in shadow work, deep diving into my shared resources with others, and emotional trust. Facing these hidden power dynamics to your closest bonds with the other to find true empowerment. The 8th is opposite of the 2nd, okay? Capricorn sitting there for you, Cancer. So this is dealing with money and change in money. And find your moon transits, very important this year, and the moons and how they're speaking to you. And especially while it's in retrograde. Leo, beautiful, gregarious, loyal, leading, sunny, ruled Leo. 7th house. This house of partnerships. So past relationships in the form of partners and close relationships. This is opposite the body, the first you. So it's direct relationships. People looking right at you, coming and going and asking you to put patterns and boundaries up here. Something's going on in your power dynamics and relationships, Leos. Check the sun and where it's transiting during this time. In all the aspects making to your Leo there is a partnership purge. This will not be easy energy. And relational clarifying, and it's asking you to be objective, okay? The 7th house is very objective. I talked about Libra being the only non-physical sign, right? Meaning it isn't a person or an animal, you know, right? It's a thing. So it's very objective. And the we is going to be tested here, all your partnerships, and identifying, you know, where you're giving too much power away and where you've used your ego maybe too much in anal, too Platonian way to protect and control them. Virgo, beautiful Virgos, Mercury ruled, my logical, rational friends. For you, this is happening in the 6th house. Of course, you know that house well, Virgos. It's your house. Woza, when Pluto comes home to you in your house, it is a must, when it's in your home, to check the lords of Virgo, Mercury, and the Lord, I should say, of Virgo, Mercury, and the lords, Uranus and Saturn. There is a strong message coming to you through Pluto, Uranus, Saturn, and Mercury. This is a system overhaul. This is not easy. You know, your beliefs in everyday life, your mental patterns and addictions in everyday life, stress, work matters, where you're speaking, where you're showing up, and where you're not showing up, and where you should be speaking, where perhaps you have had some power dynamics in your daily life with others regarding your own self-care. And you're finding perhaps a theme coming through other things. You know, I think other people have spoken to you. This has been going on for a while with Virgos. I know some Virgos very, very well, one of them being my son. So I have the privilege of, I also work with, and consultants, I'm working with 4 Virgos. Virgos, you are going through it. So I really understand, and I have a stellium in Virgo, and my Uranus and Pluto's in Virgo, so I really get this energy. And what can happen here is you can be so busy in doing, that's where you find your psychological satisfaction. And remember, it ties to worth. It ties to value. So you're saying your productiveness is really what you're making you valuable. If I do this, I am valuable. People will see me as valuable. And that is not what Pluto wants you to be doing, okay? Pluto is stripping you down. And if we do not listen, Virgo, he will knock you on your ass. I'm not kidding. This is a warning for all Virgos. Self-care is asking you to let go of the belief that you are worthy only because you're being productive. You are analytical. You're disciplined, you like to be restorative, you're very logical. And so your polarity is facing you down of Pisces, and it's asking you to go in the cave, to go into the depths, and to find out how your daily habits and work-life balance are exhausting you. And it's asking you to find more suitable ways to serve without burning out, and without messing up your nervous system. Mercury rules digestion in Virgo, and it also rules the mind. Okay, so too much going on in the stomach, too much going in the mind can cause head problems, can cause stomach problems, and we know that the gut is the second brain. Please Google that. Libra, fifth house. This is the house of romance, pleasure. Leo's home where the sun shines. Relationships with children, creative projects, and it's asking you, hey, where am I indulging maybe? You know, where am I compromising to who I am and my true authenticity for my creativity, right? There's a creative rebirth being asked of you, and quite literally, some of you may be having children while Pluto is in retrograde. I have a Libra daughter who is due with a child in July. Hopefully will come on my birthday, but that grandbaby is in the oven. And she is a Libra, my daughter, and here we are. She will give birth in the house of children. So it's a literal manifestation for her, and looking for ways to really have just joy in romance, stop performing, stop maybe performing for others in a way that didn't please you. Start performing for yourself. Start creating your own space where there's this raw, unfiltered truth. Leos are very brave. It's the house of Leo. They're very bold and they're very courageous and they're not afraid to shine. And I think that perhaps Libras have been afraid to shine. And so this is a rebirth of you here in the way that you express your authenticity, and the world will see it. It's asking you to show up. Scorpio. Fourth house of home, family, deepest roots, house of Cancer, ruled by the moon. Pluto's there. Uranus, Saturn, ooh, ouch. Mars, waxing and waning. Family power dynamics. It's asking you go back, address any old wounds, any emotional baggage that you keep talking about, and let it go, alchemize it, get it to a place where it's no longer a thing, because you're giving your power away. And I want to talk about rumination because that's what comes up here. And, what does the moon do? It waxes and wanes, right? So think about this. The moon comes out every day like the sun. So Cancers are constantly in this waxing and waning phase. They can't help it. And so they're going through the emotions, coming down the emotions, going through the highs and then releasing and then coming back in and then going through the highs. So if you do not have mastery of your moon as a Cancer sun, please book a reading with me. That is absolutely non-negotiable. You've got to get that under control or it will master you. With Pluto going through the fourth house, this is rooted, investigative, private work, going to the core in the deep of your wounds. This feels heavy, like digging into your home life and family patterns. This could quite possibly be completely moving your roots, changing your roots. I have a fellow friend who's a Scorpio ascendant who is literally trying to move. She's looking to move. Clearing out inherited emotional baggage is a big one when Pluto's there. Pluto, psychology, power dynamics, other people, money, values. Not an easy time for Scorpio right now, as Pluto, even after going retrograde, stays in that fourth house. That's an angled house. Angled houses have more power. Angled houses are more active. Sagittarius, third house of communication. This is siblings, neighbors, community skills. Reviewing old projects and teachers. Possible power struggles that need to be addressed. Check your Lord Jupiter for all aspects. Jupiter's been in Cancer since last June, fixing to go into Leo, which you are going to love because it's going to move it out of heavy water where it's kind of been sluggish for you, and it's going to move into fire on fire. Sagittarius, you have got some power coming. I have seen it. My goodness, you are going to have a mind shift hit you, and it's going to open up communication and really be piercing so you could get to the bottom of things, right? You're going to be able to see the higher vision, but first you got to have all this third house activity, reevaluating the third house, day to day, where you live, who you talk to, where you're going. All that is on the table. How you think and speak, Sagittarius. Woo, that's a big one. You can be quite blunt with that mouth. It is being asked to transform. How you speaking and showing up in that third house. Realize this right now, Sag. As Pluto's in retrograde, your words are carrying really heavy weight. And you're refining your message to be more impactful and less scattered. Okay, boy, I can relate to this. All right, I have a ninth house stellium natally in Sagittarius that contains all my Cancer energy. Hecate is at 26 degrees, and she conjuncts my Hecate sun at 26 degrees, my north node. Then I have Venus, then I have Sappho, then I have Sirius, then I have the moon, and then I have the vertex, all in Cancer up there in the ninth. So I've done a lot of work there. But right now, with it going through Sag the way it is, even though I'm a Cancer ninth house, right? I still feel that. Remember, everything is layers. All right, and I am really hearing this message loudly in the third. All right, Capricorn second house of wealth. This is having to do with Lord Saturn and asking you to deal with all things second house. Cardinal energy in a fixed house. Cardinal energy that is earthy, having to do with an earth house, earth on earth. You are dealing with your home, literally dealing with your home and where you put your feet, as the second house rules, where we first begin to walk, where we put our feet down, and where our ancestry is, literally what we're given. So all of this is in flux for you. Wealth, values, home, internal questions on your career, what you're going to do, where you're going to go, and how this is going to impact your psychology, opposite the eighth, right? How this is going to impact your eighth house Cancers therein. Cancer represents the home. You've got the second to the fourth to the eighth all hitting here. Let me encourage you, they are working together. Everything is working together for you, Capricorn. This is sextiling. This is trining energy. You've got this. You're going to come out the other side. But I want to encourage you, check your Saturn. Check Lord Saturn. Check your Uranus transits. Check your Saturn-Pluto connections. You have got a value realignment with what's happening here. It's changing the way that you do your things in your money, in your life, in your home. It's going to change everything to do with your financial security, how you feel grounded, and how you use your resources. And after Pluto's long stay, right, in your money sector, it's asking, do you feel valuable? Did you rebuild your sense of self-worth from the inside out? This is a deep alchemical time for you. Aquarius, this of course is in the first house for you. Very, very challenging to have Pluto anywhere in your chart in the first house. Pluto power dynamics with people consistently as it's in your body. All right, do you feel that way, Aquarius? Has that been going on? Because you are the fixed air. Uranian, Saturn-led, not Sagittarius, excuse me, Saturn-led sign. This is about your health, your body, your physical expression, your personal identity, and your mental processes inside that body. It's an identity metamorphosis for you. Very revolutionary, very introverted. Sorry to say, 11th is the legacy of the larger house of groups, But this is very introverted, and it's taking you to a phoenix-like state. But you've got 6 months for this. The retrograde is asking you to face this change, okay? Let go of the old version of yourself. This is a complete overhaul. Make room for a radical, more authentic persona. This is asking you to show up how you are, who you are, and to make no apologies for it. Remembering to the golden rule of as you send your energy out, so it comes back to you. Pisces, finally, 12th house here. This is occurring as a very private journey for you. Pisces have been going through it as well. My dear Pisces, my goodness. You are ruled by Neptune and Jupiter. You are the deepest feeling water sign. This is a very, very, very private journey in the 12th house, having to do with mental health, the house having to do with hidden enemies, imprisonments, retreats, insane asylums, jails, hospitals, confinement, where we're not seen, where we go into the deepest dive in our chart ever is the 12th house. Look at your 12th house, and that is where you need to do some very deep shadow work. What you need to release, what you need to let go of, certainly what you need to swim away from, little fishies, and close off and come into a new body of water. Remembering all seas connect together, of course, and leaving with positive closure so you may swim into the fresh waters freely. Check Jupiter working with you in Cancer, sextiling Lord Neptune in a very challenging situation to you right now in Aries. Check planets that are squaring you and causing acerbation. This is a spiritual unloading and transformation that when you come out of it, you're going to be a different person in the way that you move your emotions, okay? This is subconscious, this is mystical, this is Sedna on the bottom of the sea, quiet. Period of closure and processing hidden fears, finishing off old karmic cycles in the background of your life, and preparing for a total internal clearing. In closing, it's also important to remember that retrogrades occur in what astrologers call 3 main stages. There's the pre-shadow or shadow phase where the planet slows down, appears to slow down from Earth. The retrograde station where it appears to stop and turn backward. And the direct station where it stops again and resumes forward motion. So these 3 phases cover a loop where the planet passes over the same zodiacal ground 3 times. Now, with this being Pluto, and Pluto moving so slowly, as it's an outer planet, the most outer planet we have. I know it's been downgraded to not be a planet, but to me it's a planet. So I'm going to call it a planet. You can make that decision on your own. I've seen too much energetic connection between these signatures of Pluto to, I have proof, just charts and events that have occurred and situations that have come up in my own life that, there's no way that the stars could have known this, but they did. The planets could have known this, the angles. I can't explain it. I really wish I could. I think that would put my own mind at ease. I have a Aquarian Saturn, so I'm all up in this Aquarius energy and wanting to understand 11th house themes and, hopefully leaving something behind that will change, because it's in the fourth house for me, will change the roots and the heritage to a much higher vibration. And I believe that's happening. I've already seen that happen. It takes time to shed generational skins. Remember that. Go easy on yourself. Thank you for spending your time with me. I appreciate it. All those who are supporting me, I appreciate it. I am taking consultations, and it would be an honor to serve you. Blessed be.